All right, we're ready to go. We're already having the chat. We're having the chat off air that we should be having on air. So let's just change that around right now. Vassos, big intro time, please.
She's been named FIFA World Coach of the Year a record 3 times. She's won the Euros twice. She's reached 2 World Cup finals and made us all fall in love with Lionesses. She's now revealed her secrets in a new book, What It Takes, out today. And you may be calm and serene, but she's calmer. And Sarina Wiegman!
Yeah, nice one. Good morning, Sarina.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for being here. My goodness me, what a legend you already are. I've got to ask the question everybody else has asked you. Did you really cut your hair short so you look like a boy, so you could play in the boys or in the boys teams at football at the age of 6?
Yeah.
7, 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6, 7,
That's all
8.
true.
That's all true. Times have changed, huh?
Oh my goodness me! So you could only play with the boys.
Yeah, well, there was no girls' football, and girls were not allowed to play football at that time.
Right.
And I really wanted to play football, and I have a twin brother, so together we went to play in a team.
Right, I see. And did the team know that you were a girl?
Yeah, everyone knew I was a girl. I was around. Only the opponents. Sometimes they realized, and sometimes you got trouble. Sometimes you didn't. But of course, everyone that I played with were my friends, and of course, everyone knew I was a girl.
Were you any good?
Yeah, I think I was okay. I was good.
How would you rate yourself out of 10 as a coach, looking back at your ability as a kid?
No, I think I was talented. I was an intelligent player. I was little. Well, you can tell.
Yeah.
I was just really, really ambitious, very fanatic.
Yeah.
And just wanted to play all the time.
And now you're this legendary leader. How were your leadership qualities as a youngster? Did you have that seed? Did you have that sense that you were good at getting people together and getting the best out of them?
Well, when you're young, of course, you don't have that sense. What I had really early, I already knew in the elementary school that I wanted to become a PE teacher.
Right.
At that time, you could not become a coach as a woman, so there were no examples. And you could not become a professional football player. So I just loved playing football. And examples were men football players, and I love sports, and I loved being with people around. So I knew in a very young age that I wanted to teach, and in sports. But then later on, as the game developed, so I'm very, very grateful that for all the trailblazers in the Netherlands and in England that waved the path for us and for me, that I could become a coach. And as soon as I could, that I took the coach courses and I went into coaching.
So I have a daughter who seems to be good at sport. One never knows. Her mum is brilliant at sport, so it would figure if that were the case.
So you're not brilliant at sports.
Boo is 5. And the thing about her is she doesn't show any leadership qualities per se, but she has got us all under her thumb, around her little finger. And also she's incredibly organised. So maybe you didn't leadership traits aren't something that we have when we're kids, but were you organised as a kid? Because that is one of your great strengths. Everybody talks about your organisation.
Yeah, well, I was organized, and I was so committed and disciplined that I really wanted to do well, and I already wanted to be the best. And when I was a player, I was already very coaching, and I was very interested in the tactics of the game. So I would always have conversations with the coaches and try to help and coaching teammates in the game. So that was already part of me. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we were talking about learning yesterday, at school. Yeah. And we are told we have to learn, but we're not often taught how to learn. So very few children are taught about mind maps and about memory pegs, which is so useful. This is how I do this show with memory pegs and mind maps. And they take half an hour to learn, and then you know them for the rest of your life. And what I find interesting in football is that a lot of central defenders and midfield players all wanted to score goals when they were kids, weren't quite as good as the other kids, so then slipped down the field, and some of them became world-class defenders. But if some of us had been taught to just be a defender straight off the bat, we might have had a chance, because it's a different kind of game, isn't it?
Well, that's a very interesting thought about that. No, I think when kids are young, like from the age 6 to 12, just let them play.
Just let them play.
And that things come naturally.
Their strengths come
let
to
them
the
play. They can play up
surface.
front. They can play in defense.
Yeah.
I think you just let them, and then you can see the preferences, and then they're very. They learn very easily at that age, like the technical part of the game. But also, we shouldn't coach that much. Also in that age, let them play and encourage them to play and do their best and enjoy themselves. And then later on, when they get older, then they get into a position.
Yeah. Wow. When you, I mean, there's this great stories through the book about your success with the Netherlands ladies team, and then you get a call from the FA, and then you come over here, and we all know what happened in 2022 and what nearly happened this year. Oh my gosh! By the way, thanks for all the entertainment. Straight off the bat.
Yeah. Well, we were at the other side of the world. We didn't get it that much. We got some of it, but sometimes we realized that you enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, no, we loved it. I mean, I listened to it on the radio because we just landed. We landed at half-time from America, half-time in the final. It was on the radio. It's like, wow, this is amazing. 2022, of course, you did get all the juice, didn't you?
Pardon me?
In 2022, you got all the juice. You know, that was completely amazing. One thing you always say when you're asked about the success of the England team is that you inherited a fantastic team or a fantastic bunch of players. And then that you say that about them, and then what they then say about you is, and it's all you. There's lots of letters in the book and takes in the book from people that you've worked with in the past and present and hopefully future. They say that they knew they were good, but then you came into the setup and then you gave them the confidence to play, the freedom to play, the la 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 la, whatever they needed, without giving too many secrets away. What did you bring? Is there a mindset that you take to every situation that allows that to happen?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like what you said, I think the team was already in a very good place. When I came in, the team had made 3 semi-finals in major tournaments, and that's really good. But we just asked them the question, what made us so good? And what do we need to take the next step? And we had that in individual conversations with them, and then we made a summary of that. And so there was a huge fundament already, and we just tried to add a couple of things. And what we really did is trying to get more connections between the players, between staff, on and off pitch, because we thought we could create a safe environment. That sounds very like school, but everyone can be themselves, and you can express yourself. And you can absolutely make mistakes. So we talked a lot about that. You have to take action. And when you take action, you can make mistakes. But making mistakes is part of football and it's part of life.
Yeah.
And learn from mistakes. So we really encourage them to play to win, and accept mistakes and learn from it. And that's just... we've been talking about it all the time, and then get connected. So you have to talk to each other, because when you get to know each other better, then you understand each other better, and then it's easier to give feedback to, honest feedback that will be accepted then. And we need honest feedback to improve, because we have super strengths when we want to talk about. We have to know each other's super strengths to make the team better. But we always need to know, okay, what do we need to do better? So we always say make from an 8 and 9, or maybe a 10, and make from a 6 or 7, and then we improve as a team and as an individual. Right,
and this is the long game. It's literally about the long game as well. The long game, more long term.
Yes, exactly.
We are here for the long run. So let's plant the seed. We can't sort of force feed things here. We need to build on the foundations. It's simple, isn't it? Really, there's no quick fix. What I also love about because I'm trying to think. Well, what can people learn from? Which is why you've written the book. Is if you have a team of people, it's great to have meetings where everybody can voice their opinion, but some people will be more timid than other people. So this one-on-one thing is really important. And you did a sort of world tour of your players, didn't you, after one tournament, to go and see them individually at home to get their take on what they'd experienced, what just happened. And then what do you do with all that information?
Yeah, I think you're talking about when we with the Netherlands, when we lost one game and we had to play playoffs to qualify for the World Cup. So after the 2017, we won the Euros, and then we had to qualify for the World Cup in 2019. I think at that time we didn't do well in that game, and I really had to talk to a couple of players to ask them how they felt, what we need to do as a team, because I always think, together with my technical staff, we can make the plans and say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. But we need ownership, and we need to check with players, okay, how do they experience it? And what do they think? And then you make a plan together. Of course, I have to give direction together with the staff, but they have to believe in it. If we go to the left and the players don't believe in it, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah.
So you have to talk to players and listen to them, how they experience, what they believe in, and then together you come to a plan, and then you have lots of ownership, and then players are going to take responsibility for it too.
Right, and you talk about well, Arnold Schwarzenegger was here the other day, and in his 7 rules for life, one of his rules for life is there is no plan B. That's not going to work in football because, again, your team say, because a lot of your team are in the book, they say that she's always got a plan B, she's always got a plan C. You can always defer to that's not working, let's do this. How many... Plan A, of course. How far down the alphabet do we go? How many plans do you have for a match?
No, well, I think Arnold talks about, like we're talking now about our football plan, and our style of play, and then our game plan for the next game. And I think when you work with a team, the plan needs to be very clear, so everyone knows what's expected, and every player knows what her task is, and that makes her accountable for a teammate. So that's why you need to have plan B, and then you have scenarios in the game. So what you're trying to do to go through all the scenarios that could happen in the game or in a tournament, on and off pitch, and think okay, what would be the solution? So you can be you can be 1-0 up, and the opponent is really going to try and force a goal, and then how do you defend? Or when you're 1-0 down and you really have to force a goal, you really want to score a goal. What can you do as a team? And that needs to be clear too. Or when you get a red card, which player is going to red card? How are we going to solve it? What shape are we going to do? Which player would come in? And then you have to stop.
Systems.
There's just systems. Yeah.
And decisions you don't need to make on the hoof. You've already made these decisions way before.
In that so for example, when you get a red card, if you're going to discuss with your technical staff for 10 minutes what you're going to do, they can have scored 2 goals.
Yes.
So you need to be very quick in your decision making. It needs to be clear straight away. And then in the game, it's all about decision making of the players, and they need to make their own decisions. Football is brain training.
So preparation. And the more you prepare, the more spontaneous you can be in a way on the pitch.
Because that's what I hope.
Yeah,
yes.
because you have this. It's the same with the show. The more sorted our show is before we come on the air, the more fun we can have with it. Because it's not chaos. It sounds like it most mornings.
Well, football is chaos. Football is chaos.
It is, isn't it?
Because the ball is always open.
And it's free. It's a loose game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's free. And it's all about decision making. And players make the decision. That's what you want to do with coaching too. Yeah. Coaching is influencing behavior. And we have our game plan. Players have their task, but every situation in the game is different because there's open. And how does the defender stand? How is your teammate open? And then it's all about the decision making of the players on the pitch.
People say you're a straight talker. In order to do that, you had to learn English very quickly. Mm-hmm. You had 12 one-hour lessons, is that right?
Yeah, kind of like that.
I mean, come on.
No, but that's before I came in. Look, I had English in school.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, a lot of Dutch people are great English speakers anyhow.
There's not very many people that speak Dutch. So we, as a Dutch population, we really need to speak English to be able to communicate worldwide.
But then you had a football specialist teaching you English. Yeah. So you had to learn to speak football English.
Yeah, well, when I was a player, I played in the US for a year.
Yeah.
So then, of course, that was a long time ago, but I knew English. We speak English once in a while, but before I came in, I really wanted to get the details right. So I thought I better train this already before I go in.
Yeah.
So I go quicker, and of course I make mistakes with the language. Then we laugh, and I ask the players, "Okay, what do I have to say?" Then we just have to check sometimes if I come across what I want to. The messages. And the
culture, you had to learn some of the culture as well, didn't you? As well.
Yeah, that's pretty funny because there are some differences between the English, between how we would interpret an English sentence, and how that comes across in the English culture. So that gives sometimes hilarious moments.
Yeah, it's so cool. Did you watch Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I loved Ted Lasso.
Could you relate to that at all?
Oh, it was so funny.
What did you think?
I really hope that there comes a new episode.
There's not going to be any, I don't think.
I hope so soon. But
Did you take anything from that show in your job?
Well, it's so exaggerating what they do that it's so funny. But you can relate so much to your own environment too. It's really, really funny.
Did you steal anything from that show?
No, I don't think I steal anything. It's just sometimes you can relate to yourself.
He's a good leader, though, isn't he?
Yeah. It's really like
because he cares.
People. Yeah, exactly. He cares about people.
You can't lead people you don't care about.
Well, that's my philosophy.
I think that's the philosophy of all great leaders.
Yeah, well, I believe in that.
Yeah, leaders who sustain.
And Ted Lasso too.
Yeah, exactly. You are often misunderstood in as much as some people think you're angry from the way you look. And you've now said, no, that's just my focus face.
Yeah. I'm trying to...
I love the term focus face. It's
well,
hilarious.
I try to make a term from it because, when the game starts, I'm really concentrated. When I concentrate, you get like, your focus goes like this.
Yes.
And I know too that I really look that I'm not enjoying myself and I'm really angry, but I am not angry. So I told the place I'm not angry. I'm really enjoying my job and I really enjoy being in that environment. It's just my concentration.
It's your focus
and
face.
I'm trying to smile a little more, but when you're very concentrated, you're not thinking about smiling.
I get it all the time. They go, what's wrong with him today? Yeah. And somebody then says, you're right. I go, I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
You need to tell your face.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I do now. I try and do that more. Vassos.
Yeah.
What are your team talks like, Sarina?
Well, depends on what kind of meeting we have.
Just before they go out on the pitch, and then maybe, so one of those, just before they go out on a pitch in an important game, and then maybe at half-time when it's not going to plan.
Yeah. Well, right before we go on pitch, like everything is clear. Then every player is really ready to go. So it's just like an emotional thing, and go out there and play and enjoy, and sometimes play like a kid because we want every player to come in, not in their heads but in their hearts, and just go out there and play because we know what our plan is. And what you want is that they play to their strengths, so they play at their highest level. So that's what you're trying to do. And if there's some team news or things, then I'll say that too. But it's going to be short, very concise. And at halftime, we're trying to be really concise too. So really into the game. If things don't go to plan, we first think, okay, is this a tactical thing or is it a team thing, or that we play with a little bit of not how do you say that,
reticence.
Yeah. So then we say, okay, we just get a little more, and if we do tactics, it's maybe 1 or 2 clips that we look, so not very many, because you want maximum 3 things, but we're trying to keep to 2, and really concise, short, show some clips, and then go again.
There's a theory that we talked about yesterday that Vassos brought up about the fact that if you are teaching something or trying to explain something and it's not in your first language, it's in your second language, it actually often comes across better because you have to stick to the facts because you don't have the vocabulary to make it too complicated.
Well, I'm not sure if that's a language thing. Sometimes the language I find hard, but I ask the players too. We just check if it comes across. I think anyway, we should not overcomplicate things. So we're trying to keep it really simple. And we also, like the last year said, less is more. So the more you say, the more complicated you make, the more chaos it becomes. So you want to get really clear. So we always in the game or in our principles of play, we talk about like simple principles, and underneath these principles come the details. Yeah. And so we have our principles of play, then we have our game plan, and sometimes in the game plan, depending on what the opponent also does, we highlight some of the things and get more in detail. But in general, we try to keep it simple.
Yeah, and also the longer the explanation is, I think the less certain the person talking is about what they're trying to convey. They haven't really made up their own mind.
Well, I'm not sure. Sometimes it's hard to leave things out because you want to prepare the team as good as possible. But you need, as a coach and with the tech staff, really, we have to make choices and prioritize, and also have the courage to leave things out, to stay as concise as possible, to come across as good too. And then it comes back to keep it simple and have like 2-3 things.
Got it.
I love when you talk about the importance of role models and what you see you can be. And, you know, you were talking there about how when you were young, you wanted to be a PE teacher because there were no female coaches. That just didn't happen. What more needs to happen in the football world to provide those role models for our girls and for our women? More female managers in the Premier League, and if you were to take on a Premier League team,
here we go.
Who would you want to take on?
No, look, yes, I think one of the most valuable things over the years that I love to see is that I didn't have examples when I was a young kid. When you see now, you see little girls and boys having shirts of Ella Toon or Frank Kirby or Bat Mead. And so they have examples, and that's so incredible. So the growth of the game is really going into the right direction. And I'm so proud of, and I feel very privileged that I have lived through this kind of history. So that's so valuable. And that now for girls, football is cool. And when I played, football was not cool for girls. I think the discussion about female being able to coach male teams, I think, why not? Why? Of course, female can coach male teams, and I think like women are everywhere, and also having leadership roles in whole society. So why couldn't that be able? Isn't that not possible in football? I'm really happy in the position I'm right now, and I don't underestimate how good it is. So I work with the best players. I work with the federation, where so much support. We have all the facilities, and I just love my job. And I would not want to go away and leave that job.
Good try,
and
Rachel.
Also,
Good
I'll
try.
also say that it's just great to work in the women's game.
Chesham?
Yeah.
Don't
Chesham
underestimate
United?
that.
Oh, Chesham United would definitely take some pointers.
Yeah, would you come and give Chesham United a look? They're only down the road.
Okay, well,
We'll pay the petrol money.
London is really nice, isn't it?
Great to see you. Great to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, come on, round of applause to Sarina Wiegman. Woo!